You know, there are very few brands within our entire 12-volt electronics industry that really transcend into so many different things, different lifestyles, different cultures. And Sony is one of those brands. And we are really blessed to have a brand like this to continuously innovate and offer products for our 12-volt electronics consumers. Today on CMA, we're going to be covering the brand new source unit offering from Sony. We've got product specialist KRIS BULLA in the house with us today to give us all the details. This is CMA Networks brought to you by SiriusXM, all about Sony, and it starts now. Welcome, everybody, to CMA once again, as we are giving you all the goods and everything you need to know about 12-volt electronics. I'm your host, Ben Wu, and I promise we are talking about Sony head units. Now, Sony can be broken up. You guys know there's the Sony line, and of course, there's their ever-popular ES line that we'll be covering as well. KRIS BULLA, what are we going to be covering today? Can you give us a taste of what's on the menu?
Hey, Ben, it's always great to be here with CMA. We love talking about our products with your crew and with your retailers out there. And today we're going to get a sample of some of the features and functionality of the new XAV 9000 ES. We announced that at Knowledge Fest in Orlando earlier this year, and that should be shipping in just a few weeks, towards the end of summer.
KRIS, it's always exciting not only to have you here, but now you're coming with brand new product to talk about. I couldn't ask for more. We're going to definitely dive into more details about this XAV 9000 ES unit that you mentioned. But first, a quick message from our sponsor, SiriusXM, reminding dealers why you love it. And when we come back, Sony with KRIS BULLA.
Hey guys, Ricky Lima here from SiriusXM. I had a chance to speak to some dealers and ask them what they love about selling SiriusXM. Here's what they had to say.
Coast-to-coast coverage.
I love SiriusXM for commercial-free music.
It's a great add-on sale and a profit opportunity.
We love selling SiriusXM because you can listen to the same channel coast to coast.
Profitability and ease of installation. It's a no-brainer.
We love selling SiriusXM for its ease of installation, great profitability, and reliability.
People love it.
All right, let's dive right in. You heard it from KRIS's mouth. Just recently at the Orlando K-Fest show, Sony launched and announced a brand new unit to add to the catalog. Now, I have no idea what the details are. I'm waiting for KRIS to spill all the beans, but I heard ES, so I know it's going to be part of their ES line. KRIS, what can you tell us about the brand new XAV 9000 ES?
Ben, we're super excited about this new XAV 9000 ES. This kind of adds another product to our Mobile ES lineup. We now have a really cool family of Mobile ES products. I know when we first brought Mobile ES back a couple years ago, we started just with speakers. We finally added a head unit, which people expected right up front. Then we brought in the amplifiers, of course, which you've heard a lot about. And then we expanded our speaker lineup. And now we've expanded that radio lineup as well with this new addition. And the cool part is this XAV 9000 ES has every bit of all the goodness that's in the 9500 ES, which is its big brother, the 10.1-inch screen, in a new compact shallow mount chassis with the single din on top design that we're kind of known for on our chassis design, and a 7-inch high definition screen on the front. So along with that comes all of that great Mobile ES sound processing capability, all of the highest end high res tracks that you can play on these units, the highest sound quality possible coming out of these decks, going through our Mobile ES amplifiers, and then of course through our Mobile ES speakers that sound awesome. It's truly a full front to back solution now for any car with this new 7-inch screen that we've introduced.
You know, I had a sneaky suspicion that Sony was kind of thinking about going that way, but I do have some questions for you, KRIS. For example, we know that the 9500 ES has been an absolute superstar and an absolute winner for Sony. Why was there a need to come up with a smaller model? I mean, isn't there enough with just the 9500? And the second part to that question is there any difference as far as the power on the onboard amplification as far as performance is concerned?
You know what, Ben? Great question. So the reason we had to bring out a 7-inch screen option in our mobile ES line was just to simply give our retailers more options for more vehicles, right? The 9500 is great. It's got that giant HD screen, and it's awesome in a lot of cars. What we want to do is give consumers the ability to put an ES sound experience into any car, right? So that 7-inch screen gives you that compact frame, and that smaller screen size. You can fit it in a lot more dashboards pretty easily. And the cool part is our engineers are awesome. You know that. You've seen some of our products in person, and I think you've had a pretty good experience with those. The engineering that's gone into the 9000 ES has been able to incorporate every single feature from the 9500 ES, including that ESS 9080Q 32-pit DAC, the 5-volt pre-outs, the Class AB amplifier inside it. We've separated that chassis just like we did in the 9500 to prevent any cross noise, issues with the digital and analog components, since we do have that Class AB amplifier inside it. So just an astounding piece of engineering to force all of that great technology and all that high-end audio capability into that small frame.
So, Chris, I gotta say, if according to everything that you just pointed out there, every single feature, every single box checks off, because why we fell in love with the 9500 were all those great features, including all the sound quality items that you mentioned. But now let's reverse this conversation, because now you're presenting a lower price point, fully packed, fully featured unit. Why is there still a need now, or is it as polished as it was before with the original 9500 ES, now that it has another competitor in its same lane?
Listen, Ben, this is an easy one, man. If you're spending the type of money you are on a mobile ES upgrade for the vehicle, you want to show it off, right? And that's where that big screen comes in. I mean, essentially, the big difference between the two decks is the screen size, right? And that floating face capability, that 9500. If you've seen it in any trade show, and if you've seen it in the pictures, it's an astounding looking deck for sure. And that screen's just amazing looking in a lot of different dashboards. The 9000 is simply a solution, right? There's no difference between the two decks. And given my personal preference, if my car could handle the 9500 being installed, I certainly would put that in over the 9000, right? But this is a solution, and we love providing solutions for our retailers. And as a retailer of ours, carrying our Sony Mobile ES lineup, we would expect to have both of those on display and both of those in stock, so you can serve your customer the proper solution for their car, and of course for their desire, right? So I think there's a great option for both, with both of these products in the lineup.
Okay, Chris, I think I understand what you're saying. Two units, one that's new and serves an absolute purpose by being able to fit in places where others can't. But I really don't want to discount the 9500 being such a supreme piece that it is. Yes, it's got that big screen. Size absolutely matters, but there's some functionality and experiential stuff going on there that simply you can't do with the smaller screen.
Great point, Ben. So I think there are some creature comforts, if you will, between the two screen sizes that will, many customers will find better in that 9500, that big platform. It allows you to have an extra icon on that screen, so quick access is much easier on that 9500. On the 9500, we have the two soft touch buttons that can be custom programmed to different functions on it. So really a great experience top to bottom. And if you've seen some of the, like your Apple Maps or Google Maps through CarPlay or Android Auto on that large 10.1-inch screen with that HD quality, man, there's no going back to a smaller screen after you've had the big one, right? So it's pretty awesome stuff. I certainly don't expect anybody to move from a 9500 to a 9000, but they would certainly move up from a 7-inch screen to that 9500 given the opportunity, right? So, and I think the 9000 also offers some really cool features. So instead of buttons across the top on the 9500, which may be great in some applications, you now have front-facing buttons on the front of that radio. And we do have one customizable button in the center that you can program to a couple different features. So I think you're kind of playing what the customer wants to put in their vehicle from a real estate standpoint, and then finding out what that customer values the most in kind of their interaction, their experience while they're driving the car.
Chris, thank you for giving us all the details on these high-end Sony mobile ES products, both in the 9000 as well as the 9500 ES. But I got to look at also the core line, because there's a lot of dealers out there that aren't quite ES dealers quite yet, but do carry what you call the core line within the Sony source units. Now, we're talking about a line called the AX series, which we did talk about recently, but they are quite a recent addition as well. What can you tell us about this series?
Well, Ben, the story here is awesome because with that 9000 and 9500 ES platform, we introduced this new technology platform for Sony as a whole on our head unit lineup. And what you're now seeing is that trickle down effect for that technology and that quality. So the AX 4000 and the AX 6000 are our two newest models on that new platform, and those are core line units. And both of those units benefit from the same technology, except for the sound processing side and the HD screens that those other two mobile ES units have. So the wireless CarPlay and Android Auto, the Maestro capability, all of those good things that platform brought to the market are now inside the core line units as well. And listen, our core lines, the radios that we've had in our core line have been very strong players for a long time within the market, going all the way back to our AX 5000. It was one of the most photographed radios in the industry at one point, because it didn't matter what dashboard you put it in, it just looked good because we had that industrial look to it, that very nice, clean looking flat black and silver, finish on it. And we've carried through all of those design themes to this new platform. So now you've got the feature and the function to back up that good look and that good styling. And it's a great marriage.
All right. So from what I understand, this new core series, or these two models specifically that have been added to the core series, there is a 4000 model and a 6000 model. Let's start with the 4000 model and learn about its features.
Sure thing. The AX 4000 presents a great value, kind of an entry level, product in our lineup for that new AX series with all that technology backing it up. So at that price point, you get a great wireless CarPlay and Android Auto functionality. You get the Identilink Maestro compatibility, which gives you all of the extra functions and features within the vehicle to control factory features and things like that. You get a great 2-volt, output on the RCA pre-outs. You've got a great Sony amplifier inside it. Great usability. One of the kind of unspoken heroes of our lineup is our user interface, right? So it's simple, it's clean. You press a button, it does exactly what it says it's going to do. There's no hunting through menus to try to find features or functions. Clean, simple, easy to use, reliable, of course. That AX 4000's got a 1-year warranty, so you're ready to rock with whatever kind of solution the customer needs.
Well, Chris, that looks like a very value-packed piece and really nice cosmetics as well. But when we step up to the 6000, what can customers expect from an experience and feature standpoint?
Yeah, so with the XAV AX 6000, for just a small price difference, do get 4 significant feature upgrades. So first is a bezel-less design on that front screen. So the AX 4000 has a plastic bezel that goes around that screen. It looks great. It's a great looking screen, all that good stuff. But that 6000 presents a bezel-less panel. And what that means is that the whole surface is flat all the way across the front. So when you're applying it to a kit in a dashboard, it looks like one solid piece all the way across. So that's a cool upgrade. It is a capacitive touchscreen instead of the resistive touchscreen that's on the AX 4000. So that's one key difference there. Bezel-less and capacitive versus the resistive with the bezel. Okay. Next up is the micro HDMI input. So we do have a video input on the 6000 that is not available on the 4000. That is a micro HDMI input that's on the back of the chassis. So you can hook up any HDMI output device to that unit with an adapter. Okay. You do get the 5-volt pre-outs. Okay. So that's the upgrade from the 2 volts on the AX 4000. So that's a better value right there for system building. Very important to always look for that higher voltage on the pre-outs when you're doing amplifier upgrades. to make sure you're not, you're trying to lower your noise floor a little bit, keep the input sensitivity low on the amplifiers, provide better sound for your customer, of course. And then the AX6000 provides a 3-year manufacturer's warranty from the date of purchase instead of the 1 year that's on the AX4000. So a lot of big upgrades for that small price difference between the two models.
Now, as everybody knows, in today's environment for these modern vehicles, integration is becoming more and more important, if not imperative. Good to know that Sony has partnered up with iData and Maestro to provide some integration solutions. Chris, how does this work, and what is the experience like as far as retention or enhancement of features?
Yeah, listen, when you're upgrading a vehicle nowadays with a head unit, you really kind of need that extra interface capability where you're talking with the car and providing feedback and input both to and from the car, right? So, Identilink does a phenomenal job with their interface on the vehicles that they're compatible with. And we were actually not in the Identilink Maestro game for a little while. It was one of the big misses on our previous AX series, and it was frustrating to a lot of retailers out there. But with this new technology platform, all 4 of those new radios on this platform have that Identilink Maestro capability. So you'll need the Maestro RR or RR2 module. Either one will work, and it gives you all of that input from the vehicle to the radio interface. So now, just like the OEM radio might have some features that are controllable, like the HVAC system or different settings like light controls and things like that, you can now access all that through your Sony radio interface, just like you could with your OEM radio, right? So the customer's not losing any features or functionality. And as a retailer, you could be actually providing more value to the customer because the OEM radio may not include gauge clusters that you can put on the screen. There may not be certain data that's available through that OEM radio, but when the Identilink Maestro RR module is connected to the car, it does provide some of that extra information off the vehicle network. So you might get a speed cluster, gauge cluster, whatever you want to do, custom program for your particular vehicle that you're putting it into, right? And listen, I'm a car guy. I love driving. And I love showing all the gauges and everything on my radio cluster whenever I'm driving. It's an awesome, cool feature. And we've got that on all those units. Going back to our big screen with the 9500, when you've seen the Identilink Maestro interface for the gauge cluster on that big 9500 HD display, it's pretty astounding. I mean, it's pretty awesome to have that in a vehicle. So lots of cool toys to play with when you've got that module hooked up to both the car and the radio. And we love that relationship.
Another trending feature that consumers are asking for day in, day out, of course, is the advent of Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. In the beginning, there was wired, but from what I understand, the Sony went all in for these brand new 4 units, and they are wireless. Is this true, Chris?
Yeah, for sure, Ben. I mean, it's an obvious thing now where customers want everything to be easy, right? I mean, that's part of the reason the iPhone became so popular. It was simple and easy to use, right? And wireless technology, when you're connecting to your vehicle, when you are able to control apps in the data and the information that you have access to on your smartphone now, when you can connect that wirelessly instead of having to plug in the wire to physically connect it to the radio, it's just removing an extra step, right? So it's pretty awesome stuff. There's also less wear and tear on both your vehicle connections and your phone itself. So my wife can now keep her phone right in her purse and just drop it on the seat when she's ready to go. She doesn't have to do anything else; it just automatically connects. It's pretty awesome, seamless transition from walking out of the house, getting in the car, and leaving versus going out, trying to find your USB cable, trying to plug it in, set the phone in the cup holder or wherever you're trying to put it down, and then leaving, right? So you're just removing a couple steps, cleaning up the process a little bit, and making it easier to use for the customer.
Last but not least, Chris, I really wanted to spend a little bit more time going a little bit deeper on what I think Sony represents. When you hear the name Sony, you're expecting a certain level of performance. And within the Mobile ES lineup, there is a lot of effort, technology, and hardware that is put in place to make sure that has an optimized sound quality. Can you speak to that a little bit when it comes to the ES sound processing?
Ben, you've hit the nail on the head, right? So processing is very important to us on the sound side. We do use the highest end components available in our Class AB amplifier that is in both the XAV 9500 ES and the XAV 9000 ES. But we don't stop there. We are currently the only manufacturer that has an outboard sound processing chip on in our radios, and even that sound chip, we go even to the detail where the sound chip itself has discrete power and ground channels on that board that are not shared with anything else, that deliver power nonstop to that chip to increase the performance, right? Just make sure that nothing can give a negative experience to the customer and when it comes to sound quality. So that ESS 9080Q sound chip, a 32-bit DAC, does have Hyperstream 2 technology, which helps upscale some of the music that they're listening to, gives time alignment. We do have a parametric EQ for each channel of output on each of those radios that you can kind of custom tailor that to accommodate the vehicle that it's in. Just a lot of really cool sound quality features at a level that nobody else goes to in the industry.
That was Mr. KRIS Bullha, the Global Product Training Manager for Sony, joining us today and giving us all the details and goods on the newest and latest and greatest Sony source units, including that super hot 9000 ES model. Now, if you're interested in finding out more about these products, here's the website for you to go check out. Sony's a big website, as you can imagine, so make sure you go here to find out about the car audio products. And if you happen to be a retailer in Canada and you'd like to inquire, maybe you want to become a new ES dealer, maybe you just want to become a core line dealer, you need to know that the exclusive Canadian distributor for things and Sony for car audio is in fact Gentech International. On that note, I happen to have Gord Brown standing by. Now, Gord, some new product coming down the pipe, just released. Obviously, the mobile ES stuff is red hot, as well as those new AX series. I'd like to hear your thoughts on these on this new release for the 9000.
Ben, yeah, we're really excited about these pieces as well. I mean, keep in mind that, we're just cracking into the summer here, and all four of these units are on fire. The 9000, of course, comes a little bit later, but again, that platform is extremely hot for ES. But the 4000, the 6000, the 9500, great pieces for us to build on and move forward. And then as soon as that 9000 shows up later this summer and rounds out that package, we know that there's a solution for every dashboard to have a Sony display in that.
I feel like Sony is such a big brand, and it's for us a privilege to have a brand like this that is recognizable by so many when people come into our showrooms and are shopping to improve their sound. When it comes to becoming a Sony dealer or being a Sony dealer within Canada, what do you have to say that really benefits dealers who may not be one yet, that could be one in the near future?
Ben, look, everything to do with Sony has a huge background that really has a following of loyal customers. But for those that are new as well, you have to understand that brand just brings everything you expect it to bring: quality, reliability, performance, and all of those things tied into these latest head units. It just ties it into that nice big package that as a dealer you can trust, and as a customer that you can expect to be in your dashboard for a long time and work the day you bought it.
And there you have it, a quick summary of the latest and greatest coming down the pipe from Sony as far as source units are concerned. A quick shout out to KRIS Bullha for joining us, as well as Gord Brown from Gentech. For me, it is what it is. Sony is a huge brand. We are privileged to be able to have product from a brand like this in our shops that we can offer to our customers. Add to the fact that these guys have been pushing the envelope, bringing new product to the table, both in their core line and even adding a new 9000 unit to their already popular ES line. My advice to you, if you're not already an ES dealer, find out how you can become one. If you're not, man, those XAV, the new 2 units in the core line are offering a tremendous value and amazing cosmetics and features as well. That's it for this CMA Networks presentation brought to you by SiriusXM. I'm your host, Ben Wu. Until next time, we connect.
There's never been a better time to have SiriusXM with over 150 channels in your vehicle. Your Platinum Plan offer includes more than ever before to enjoy online, on your phone, or at home. Create your own ad-free personalized stations powered by Pandora. Hear ad-free extra channels and enjoy favorite shows with SiriusXM Video on Demand. What you love is on now.